Michelle One is here with Loving Through the Pink. Sorry, it's been a long time since my last update. I have been doing really well. I continue to try to find as much quiet time as I can in my day to get on the treadmill, to read a book, to tool around on my guitar, take a walk with the dog. I like to try to find new healthy recipes that are easy, and if I fall off the little Candida diet wagon, then I don't crucify myself for it, and so I'm just sort of learning to take quiet time. With anything in my life, I feel like I can really take it and go, you know. So I'm working 2 part-time jobs, and I'm grateful for any hours that I have, and I've had to remind myself that just because something looks like a gift or a blessing doesn't mean that it necessarily is one for you. So I've had to pace myself. If it looks like I'm going to have like no days off between the 2 jobs, then I opt out of an offer to work maybe a 4th day somewhere, you know. So I'm learning really hard, good lessons about taking care of myself. Let's see, it will have been a year, end of March 2018. So in 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was a very early diagnosis, and early detection helped me. Mammogram would not have detected, or where I was at diagnostic imaging, they really found it on the sonogram. So I urge you, if you have a family history, to please make sure you get yourself checked. Some of you might opt for thermography. Whatever it is, just get yourself checked. I again did mammography, and I had the sonogram. So I had my surgery, and that was in May 2017. I opted for a double mastectomy. I had the option to do a lumpectomy and radiation, but I opted for the first. And I discussed with my husband how I was more comfortable with a deep flap reconstructive surgery versus implants versus not doing nothing. So that's what we did. And so far so good. I wanted to let you know that I had a couple of scares. About a month and a half ago, I went to get an ultrasound of a little lump right here, like yeah, right in this area here, and I'd have to push really hard to actually feel it, but I noticed it, and I wanted to get it checked. And the surgeon's assistant said, you know, the breast surgeon's assistant said, you know, anytime you have any questions, we understand. Any lump, any odd thing that you notice, you're going to want to bring to us, and that's okay. So it turned out to be scar tissue from the reconstructive surgery. They do go quite high up in the midline when they're working in there. And about 2 weeks ago, I had another scare. And this one was really disconcerting because I had felt all of a sudden this lump, and this area is where we're encouraged to check ourselves here for breast cancer, like in the armpit as well. And I found something, and it was hard, and it was protruding, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, my breast surgeon said sometimes people wait so long, they wait until they have like oranges hanging off their armpits before they come in. And so I wanted to get that checked out. I contacted the oncologist. He wanted to order 2 ultrasounds, one in the armpit, one in the breast area, which I was like not even sure if that's what I needed to get because I no longer have breasts. But in any case, it was faster for me to schedule a visit with my breast surgeon again, her assistant, and get an ultrasound there, which is very convenient. So rather than ordering this or that ultrasound, they just went in there, and she discovered, thankfully, fat necrosis. So when you have any kind of fat grafting surgery, the fat isn't always going to do so well when you move it. Some of it's going to die. So they were able to remove that right then and there. They gave me local anesthesia, and I didn't have to get it removed, but you know, they ruled out that it was any kind of cancerous lump, and they gave me local anesthesia, and they had to suck it out. So it's kind of gross, but I was sore afterwards. It wasn't so bad. I did take off work that day just to, you know, I didn't know how sore I was going to be, and I didn't want to not be able to do my job. So anyway, why am I making this video because emotions are just, up and down still with this. First time I was diagnosed, I was really at peace. I felt like I didn't know what was coming, so I wasn't going to go ahead of myself, and I was just going to go one step at a time. It just made the most sense. But this time around, when I had this scare up here, because it was such a big lump that I hadn't noticed, and I thought, oh my gosh, how long has this been there? Because I don't feel anything, excuse me, like I used to. Like the sensations are very, very different up here than they used to be before my double mastectomy. Anyway, I was panicked. I didn't even want to tell my parents. We didn't talk to our kids about it. I wanted to know what it was, and my husband, of course, had a very stressful week at work, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really work. I'm sure you're worried about this too. You just don't want to tell me. But I was really down, and I had concluded in that time frame that, if this is cancer again, I'm done. Like, I'm hanging up the towel. Which was like something that that's just a response, like a coping mechanism. You kind of cross the bridge when you get there with anything when it comes to this. So yeah, this time around I didn't want to say anything. I didn't really tell work. I told like a couple of people just to explain why I had to make these, like I couldn't show up for work, or had to make different arrangements, but I asked them to please keep it hush-hush. And so, but even with that having taken place, and my thinking that's something helpful to share with those of you who kind of just continue on the roller coaster after surgery, and after it seems you're in that clear area of just taking medications, preventative medication like tamoxifen, that's what I'm on. I gotta tell you, there's something that really messed with me even more than that experience. I was at church on Sunday, and I got to witness 2 testimonials that were like just so powerful. You're standing not too far from this person who's talking about drug addiction, and having been clean for a year. And then another guy comes up and says he's been clean for 6 months. And, how are these 2 guys related? Why are they talking to us? Well, because they were open to receiving help from this program, and they'll only take you if you're ready to make a change in your life and recommit yourself to something other than your addiction, to God, to Jesus. Anyway, so these guys have become disciples, and they've been pulling on their experiences and just sharing how God loves them and loves everybody. And I was just sitting there in awe of these 2 guys who just, gave everything up. They just gave everything up to God and said, okay, I'm going to follow you. And they're clean again so far, 6 months, 1 year. One was on the verge of getting shooting himself, I'm not sure. The other guy came in and called him and invited him to this thing, and that's how they were tied together, because the guy said I was literally going to be dead in 10 minutes if this person hadn't called. So truly that was like a Holy Spirit experience. So I felt at the end of service, like, you stand around. If you like your church, you kind of like hanging out with the people afterwards, just saying hi and talking to each other about what's going on, asking for prayers, or just like catching up, because this is your family. And I was near one of the guys, the guy who talked about getting involved with people and guns, and I don't know what came over me, but I was near him, and I was just like, I asked permission. I was like, can I just hug you? And I put my arms around him, and I held him, and I just felt like this really deep embrace, like just a very, it was just beautiful, it was a beautiful feeling. Like I felt like God loving this person through my embrace, like the hugs that people share there. It's like we are his hands and feet, and I said, that's it, that's all I have. That's all I have for you. Like I have nothing else to say. And then when I pulled away, I just touched his face, and I felt like just Jesus loving this guy, and I didn't really know this guy at all, but I felt so close. And I think that's just, that really, I kept thinking of my friends who have addictions. You know, I have a handful of them who, you know, I don't know if they're drinking or not drinking. Sometimes they tell me, sometimes they don't. One won't talk about it at all. But you know, it's an issue, and I love them so much, and I wanted that to be them, you know. And I think as I'm holding this guy, I'm feeling God's love for him, God's love for them, and that moved me more than these diagnoses of cancer, or because like either way, people, we're dying. Like we're dying. We're all gonna die. We're gonna get shot down, or we're gonna get hit by a car, or we're gonna, you know, be doing things that are gonna hurt ourselves. Like we're all in that place. Like cancer, not cancer. Like the most precious thing that I got was just like, there is no time for garbage. There's no time for nonsense. You know, like if you love someone, just like you have to share that with them. And I was going to meet with a friend of mine, you know, one of my friends who has an addiction, and I'll just say she's drinking still because she won't talk about it. So she won't admit to it. And you know, she drops off the face of the earth. That's what happens. You know, like you talk to people and then they pull away. And then you're like, you know, I'm just praying for you. I'm hoping that you're not going to let go, you know? So anyway, I just had this like revelation that, you know, we're all sick. We've all got something. And like, I want prayers that I would have faith that even if I don't see God working in their lives, like that I would just trust that he would turn their hearts to him instead of these things that they think they need, or their addiction to taking care of themselves by themselves without him. Because it's like, you can love yourself or think you love yourself, but you do not have the power. You do not have the power to be transformed on your own. You just, you know, you can try, but like, just give it up, you know, because it's like, we're not that awesome. Like we're awesome, but we're not that awesome. So it's sort of like, to me, it's this prideful thing we can get into, you know, and we think we are in control of things that are not there to bless us. These are things that are abused. These are things that do not belong in our lives. These are things that destroy families, that destroy friendships, and they are overpowering people I love. And anyway, so it occurred to me to make a video just to share that message. Like, you want life? You could be on your deathbed. You could be in the gutter. Like, there is like hope outside of yourself. You know, there's hope. And you know, maybe as you receive that love for yourself, like maybe that comes through to you, and that power just touches other people. Like, I felt so depleted actually after I hugged that gentleman. Like, that was Sunday, it's Tuesday, and I'm kind of like, oh, you know, like, but it was such an overpowering feeling. Like, I just felt this love, and that's why I go to church. That's why I go into the Word. I read the Bible. I try to lift friends up and ask them to lift me up, whether we get together face to face or you know, send each other prayer requests, because like, life is not meant for us to like go it alone. Like, you know, wow, more power to us. I did this all by myself. Yeah, that lasts for, you know, as long as you can, you know, as long as you can do all the things in good health, you know. But start chipping away at those things that you call your strengths. Where would you be, you know? Anyway, I want my friends out of the dark. I am just like, I just want that for everybody who's like a hater out there, you know, like people who hateful, angry, they're just hurting. They're all just hurting, you know, they're hurting, and there's so much hope, and just, you know, it's like you want to just drag them all in to feel Jesus' love for them, you know, like he loves them so much, like he gave everything up for them, because he thought they were worth it, you know. And how many of us do stupid stuff because we don't think we're worth it? We can do all the talking we can about how we're going to crush it today and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think we're all in the dark with demons. So that's it. Loving through the pink. Grateful that the scares were just scares. Anyway, I wish you well, and I'll update you again next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.